From flying private jets, throwing million-dollar parties, and ruling the music world, to being locked up, alone, and facing allegations. For decades, it looked like no one could touch Sean Diddy Combs. He survived lawsuits, scandals, and every single time, he walked away untouched. But in 2024, Sean Diddy Combs went behind bars. At first glance, it felt like justice had finally arrived. A high-profile raid, federal charges, a disgusting man locked away. But if you look closer, something seems off. But to see why Diddy still feels like no one can touch him, even while he's in jail, you have to understand how he got here. Born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, Sean Combs started as a college intern at Uptown Records. By his early 20s, he was already launching the careers of artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci. But after being fired in July 1993, he didn't quit. Instead, 2 weeks later, he founded Bad Boy Records, and within a few short years, he transformed it into a major force in music. With the Notorious B.I.G., Mace, Faith Evans, and 112 on the roster, Diddy made the music that defined a generation. And behind the music was a businessman stacking bricks. In 1998, he launched Sean John, his fashion line that would go on to win a CFDA award. He bought a stake in Ciroc, turning a struggling vodka company into a billion-dollar brand by tying it to his image. And Revolt TV, a media network he founded to reshape how black culture presented. But it wasn't just about owning things, it was about who he stood beside. Diddy aligned himself with presidents, athletes, billionaires, and cultural icons. He didn't just get rich, he made sure nothing could touch him. For years, whispers surrounded Diddy that never stuck. But 2023, everything changed when Cassie, Diddy's former partner of over a decade, filed a disturbing and deeply personal lawsuit. Cassie's lawsuit laid out years of disturbing allegations: physical abuse, rape, forced drug use, and being surveyed without her consent. Cassie's lawsuit also revealed that he once dangled one of her friends off a 17th floor balcony while drunk, and even threatened rapper Kid Cudi, who she briefly dated during a rough patch. According to the lawsuit, Diddy said he'd blow up Cudi's car, and shortly after, his Porsche was actually torched in a driveway. Yet, no major celebrity spoke out. Not Jay-Z, not Khaled, not even the artist who once called him family. And then, just one day after the story went public, it was over. Apparently, Diddy paid Cassie $20 million in a private settlement and bought her silence overnight. But the silence didn't last. Within weeks, more women came forward. Allegations began piling up with similar patterns of behavior, spanning years, involving different victims, all pointing towards the same man. One woman accused Diddy of drugging and assaulting her in 1991. Another lawsuit claimed sex trafficking. By early 2024, there were at least 5 active lawsuits, some involving federal investigations. And then, the video surfaced. The footage taken in a hotel hallway back in 2016 showed Diddy physically attacking Cassie, pushing her, throwing her to the ground, and kicking her. The same man who danced in shiny suits and sold vodka on TV was now caught on tape, and yet, for years, that video remained buried. There were rumors of hush money, non-disclosure agreements, settlements paid to keep things quiet. But it all created a pattern, not just of alleged abuse, but of insulation, legal shields, backroom deals, a system that allowed him to move freely, even as the story stacked up against him. Until March 25, 2024, when Homeland Security agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami simultaneously. Helicopters in the air with armed agents on the ground and federal warrants. It was a full-blown federal operation. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. According to federal filings, Diddy is now being investigated for allegations tied to sex trafficking, abuse, illegal weapons, witness intimidation, and possibly far worse. Former employees, bodyguards, assistants, people who were once part of the inner circle were now turning over evidence. Some say they were forced to organize parties where women were drugged and exploited. Others say they were made to destroy tapes, wipe phones, and cover his tracks. There are even talks of sealed indictments being prepared under RICO, the same legal weapon the government uses to bring down cartels and crime families. He's even being held without bail, a rare move for a figure of his status, which suggests prosecutors believe he's either a flight risk, a danger to others, Or honestly both. His legal team went silent. No press statements, no denials, just a quiet stall, which only fueled more speculation. And yet, something still doesn't sit right. Because even with all this, the raids, the testimony, the mounting charges, there's been no perp walk, no prosecutor stepping up to say, we got him. The media isn't flooding in like they did Epstein. It's almost like someone is keeping the volume low, on purpose. By now, most people facing serious federal charges like this would be getting crucified from all sides. But Diddy is not most people. He's been friends with billionaires, played golf with powerful businessmen, and toasted champagne with presidents. The truth is, people with charges like his usually don't have it easy in jail, especially when you're rich, famous, and accused of the things Diddy's been accused of. There have been no court filings about mistreatment, no social media leaks from guards or staff. For someone at the center of an alleged trafficking network, that's almost unheard of. In his case, Diddy is being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. Apparently, he is residing in a section of MDC Brooklyn that provides special protection for inmates, which raises a darker, stranger question. Is Diddy still protected, even inside? Is someone pulling strings from the outside? Or has his name carried so much weight for so long that even behind bars, people still fear him? Maybe no one's willing to. And if that's true, if Diddy's still protected in a place designed to strip people of all they have, that changes everything. Even while he's in jail, Diddy's name is still being mentioned, all the way up to the White House. Just a few days ago, US President Donald Trump was asked if he'd ever consider pardoning Diddy. His answer?
I would certainly look at the facts.
Trump said he hasn't talked to Diddy in years and isn't following the case closely. But when asked about a pardon, he didn't rule it out, saying if something feels unfair, he'd take a look, even if they're not friends. I do wonder if Trump and Diddy were closer back in the day. They were spotted together at events and parties more than a few times. And the pardon's not just talk. Trump has done this before. In his second term, he handed out over 1,000 pardons. So when Trump hints at a pardon, it's not just talk. It shows Diddy's power goes beyond music, and maybe beyond justice. Trump himself has been found guilty in court. Multiple charges, a criminal record, and yet he's the president of the United States. Let that sink in, because if the most powerful man in the country can face 34 felony counts and still walk into the White House, what does that say about the system itself? About what justice really means when fame and influence get involved. This isn't about guilt or innocence anymore. It's about how certain people exist outside the normal pace of the law. Regular people don't get to slow the system down. They don't get silence. They don't get second chances written in gold. But for people like Diddy, like Trump, the rules bend. So where does that leave us? Right now, the case against Diddy is still unfolding. More details will come, more questions will be raised, and maybe, just maybe, real accountability will finally catch up. But until then, all we can do is watch. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe, and check out the next one right here.